Hi, welcome to the second episode of my favorite 5 games on each console. And this time I want to look back on the original Xbox. To me, I looked at the original Xbox as being the Dreamcast 2 when it was released. There was a lot of stuff that Sega had released on it, and I thought of it as being the Dreamcast 2. It was a great system, and I have to admit I was there at the midnight launch at EB Games at Garden City when it did get released. I did pre-order 2 games. One was Halo and the other one was Jet Set Radio Future. I didn't like Halo, so I took it back the next day, but Jet Set Radio Future was an amazing game, and it is actually one of my favorite 5. It's just a phenomenal game. The cel shaded graphics was so cool. I like the fact that when they did this game, they did change a few things from the release on the Dreamcast. With the release on the Dreamcast, you had to there was a time limit, so you had to rush through levels, and I always felt that I wanted to just relax, explore the environments, and it had an amazing soundtrack, and they seem to fix that sort of stuff on this game. They took out all of that countdown for time, which was ridiculous, but a great game, amazing soundtrack. It did do the first game justice, this sequel, and I would love to see this get a remaster at some stage. I know the original one did get a remaster, but I don't understand why we can't get a remaster of this. But this was one of my go-to games on the Xbox. I played this so much, and I can recommend any of these games I'm going to be showing you today. Super game, love it, one of my favorite games of all time. Now, another game that I did love on the Xbox, and to me the graphics on the Xbox were way better than the PlayStation 2. It was just amazing what that machine could do. And when you look at games like Jet Set Radio and even TAC, the great Juju challenge, this was a great platforming game. I used to love playing this so much. It was one of those go-to games because I still love platforming games, and it was in a 3D world, but it had those great elements to it. And yeah, this is new and sealed because I had to sit down and think, okay, I need to rebuild my collection, and this is one of the games I knew straight away I needed to get back in. To get it new and sealed, it's gonna have to be cracked open one day when I get an original Xbox back. I have to do that. It's a must. But that's Juju Challenge was a great game. There's 2 other games in the series equally as good, but the first one to me was fantastic. Now, another thing that you need to know, there's my passion for gaming, but also my passion for Egypt, ancient Egypt mythology, Egyptology, anything to do with Egypt in video games. I just grab those games as anything based on Egypt. And Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy is one of those games. You play as Sphinx and the Mummy. It's a great game. It was really cool to see this game get released on the Nintendo Switch. I think it was back in 2019, and just to think this is an old school game going back maybe 15-16 years, maybe even longer, and to see it get ported to the Switch was amazing. It still looks as good as it did. It plays as well as it did back then. It was just one of those games that I just couldn't put down. I would go back and play it over and over again. Like I said, these are all my go-to games. They're phenomenal games I used to love. Now, big fan of the HalfLife series. HalfLife on the PlayStation 2 I had, but HalfLife 2 on the Xbox was just even better. What can I say? It's one of those games that I just could not put down. First person shooter, as you all know. This thing goes back so many years, and it's just ridiculous to think that Valve has never released a Half-Life 3. We're seeing a Half-Life VR coming out, but Gordon Freeman, great character. I just love the whole storyline in this game, and I played this so much. I just love it. It was so cool. Now, this last game in this one is a bit odd. I guess you can say Oddworld. It's not the Abe games. Those games are cool, but Stranger's Wrath. I don't know if you ever heard of it, ever seen it, ever played it. It can be played in first person mode or third person view. It is kind of like a first-person shooter. This is an incredible game that I think a lot of people either missed or don't know about. I think a few years ago, Limited Run did do a release of this on the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation Vita, believe it or not. But if you can hunt this down, give it a go. It's a fantastic game. I remember playing this so much, and it was sort of devastating when I did get rid of my original Xbox and got rid of games like this. I wish I would have held on to them, but it's been so cool to be able to go back and try and rebuild this collection. And these 5 games were my go-to games. They were the games I would play over and over again. So that's it for this episode of my favorite 5 games. There's my favorite 5 games on the original Xbox. They're not necessarily my top 5 games, but these are the games I used to love going back over and over and over again and playing. So that's it. Hunt them down. I recommend any of these games to you guys. I'm sure you'll love it. So until next time, take care, and I'll see you later. Bye.